I kind of got to asking myself if when the portal was introduced, if we were even going to get dungeon and raid content, fairly quickly, a week, 2 weeks, maybe a month into the cycle. But here we are, and still nothing. Though I will say the Destiny checkpoint bot works overtime because I wasn't gonna do the whole thing. I basically just went and got the checkpoint. But as I was looking on the website, I saw that I think Sundered, Simuma, and there was like another two more dungeon bosses, like the final checkpoint was available to pick up. So it just goes to show you that the little bot is working overtime. But regardless, no loot, which is kind of alarming because, obviously as a person that even though I don't upload as much because dungeons and raids are getting killed off, it seems, it is very apparent that, hold on, it is very apparent that for the most part, a lot of the content that people enjoy doing, such as dungeons and raids, which is the content that, for lack of a better term, Bungie basically birthed Pantheon just so people would do this. Because even if you say that, Pantheon was like for the professional players only and stuff like that, I agree. But at the same time, you're not making a raid boss, gauntlet, fucking whatever you want to call it, and basically not have incentives so that people that have never played these long ass raids go and do them. Because it's basically like saying, if you've never done Last Wish because you don't want to spend 2 days learning it, you can just go do Riven. Now, is Riven easy? Shit, depends on who you ask, right? And they never did a Pantheon for dungeon related things because, I agree, 3 players, I'm almost dead here, 3 players, doesn't really make that much sense. But it's been a while, and again, like, I've seen people like Mactix say this before because it is true. Like, it's simply true. Like, even if you ask Fallout Plays, like, he's talked about this like 3, 4, 5 times already. Like, you go look at the numbers and stuff like that. People play less. There's way less stuff to do. And when you created Pantheon forever ago, you basically had this activity so that everyone would have like a chance and everyone would want to play. And that's, no longer in the game, which, makes sense and stuff like that. You wouldn't want to have that in rotation forever, otherwise people wouldn't play the raids. But where's the incentive? Because like right now, if you want to go do a dungeon, you have to go out of your way and like look for it how you would look for it like before. It's not like it appears in like a tab in like the, what's it called, dude, I have literally no health. Anyway, yeah, like it doesn't appear in like a separate tab that says dungeons or portal dungeon. None of that. So it's like, if you want to do dungeons, which is damn near everyone, because that's like what you're incentivized to do. Like, you pay $20 like every couple months so you have access to 2 of them. It's like, of course you're gonna want to play dungeons. You're gonna want to get the seals, the exotics, the catalysts, all these things. Nothing, because you don't get any, tier 1 to 5 armor, weapon. You don't get anything from these dungeons, and it begs the question, right? Because like, I'm a person that I enjoy doing dungeon challenges and stuff like that because I genuinely find it fun. But it's not even about the loot, because I've always said, like, once you have everything for like a dungeon, you don't really care that much unless you're like farming for a specific role. But I feel like I have everything, so I never really cared. And it was always like, I don't care, it's whatever. But now I do care, because it's like, that was my excuse and my reasoning, what's it called, like when the portal was first introduced and dungeons were like nowhere to be found. It was like, who cares? But now it's like, dog, dungeons like 2, 3, like what, 4 months later, they're still shit in the sense that, that they don't have anything new. They have no purpose to run them unless you didn't already have an exotic like Buried Bloodline. If you didn't have Buried Bloodline, yeah, you're gonna go do Warlords because you need it, but there's no incentive beyond that. And I think that's kind of messed up, because like I vividly think of Eternal. Okay, I think of Spire, Ghost, and Prophecy, and I think how that was like a little dungeon gauntlet. You get rewards, the encounters are different. Yeah, you get to play with random people. I thought that was cool. As a person that didn't really play it at all, I think I played Spire on like the highest difficulty 1 time, and that was it. Because again, you do get cool stuff and whatnot, but why couldn't you expand on that and make it so that that was like a thing in the portal? And it wasn't. And I don't know, I just feel like it's a lot of wasted potential, and I'm not really here to dog on that because I don't care. It's one of those things that it's easy to say that you don't care and then ramble about it because it seems contradictory. But again, like I said, like me as a person that does this 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times a month, like I don't care, right? But if you look at the regular players, dude, you're only gonna continue to alienate the player base, which is crazy. Because like even if they say that, a lot of these changes are gonna get fixed and stuff like that with time, bro, I got so tempted to actually start playing BL4 because it's BL4, but I only really grinded BL2 to damn near perfection. So I don't know. But that's the thing. It's like, it's not even about people threatening to play something else. It's that you did this to yourself. Like, no one plays Destiny anymore because of what you did to yourself. And it's kind of funny because for the longest, you kind of know that the game is going on an incline. And, like, people are, like, not playing and stuff like that. Like, you see the numbers drop. And you still have hope. And you feel like such a clown having hope for a company that clearly doesn't care. It's kind of crazy. In my opinion, one of the craziest things that they could have done is that if you have the portal have like a specific section, because like you can go to activities and claim rewards and stuff like that. Like you have like 6 different tabs for some of these things. Like you can easily add like an extra one that says dungeons and like what was it, like 2 dungeons? I think it was like the 2 dungeons that they were rotating for pinnacle loot. Have them right there and just be like, oh, if you complete fucking, I don't know, Shattered Throne this week with like no helmet on, you basically get fucking, I don't know, a sword or whatever. You get like Abide by the Return, and it's like pinnacle, and you're like, oh my god. You don't have that anymore because it's like they don't even have the pinnacle activities. And even if you were to say, oh, there's other activities, like who cares, dude? Okay, like at this point, it's kind of crazy how their motto for bringing content back that people care for is like bringing content that was once removed. But it's kind of crazy because it kind of gets to the point where you feel like even if they were to announce that Gambit Prime is coming back, dude, a lot of people will be really happy. You want to know why? Because at this point, we're so conditioned to like accept the old as new. And obviously not everyone's like that. The smart players aren't like that. The complacent players don't really care. They'll just, new content, whatever. Even though it's not new, it's new to them. But I don't know. I feel like that problem is like far beyond reparation, I guess you could say, because like a lot of people say in these videos that you see from Actives to Astacross, Astacross is maybe like the main one. Like he's always complaining about random stuff. That's why I literally can't tolerate watching his videos sometimes. But it's true. Like he's literally true. Like regardless of what you think or not, it's like, dude, you have more problems than actual positive things going on. Yeah, no wonder people are gonna leave. And then it's like if you bring a solution to the table that can, work or make ends meet, you could probably get like a compromise. It would slowly bring the player base back. Even if you come up with a lot of these solutions, it doesn't really seem to matter because it's like too far gone to where a lot of the best days Bungie had are behind them. And that's not to say that they can't make good content with like Renegades and stuff, but I don't know, man. I feel like if you have a game like Destiny, Warframe, Warframe 2, I would say, these type of games are very adult games. Adult games in the sense that the people that play these games know that they're spending 10, 20, 30 hours farming, studying, learning. They're doing a lot of things, build crafting, mid-maxing. There's a lot that goes into it. So for a lot of people, it's like you have a mature audience in the sense that if you just tell them straight up in a patch note, in an update, in a whatever, in a TWID, it's like people aren't going to understand. The thing is, you're far beyond understanding because you've been doing this for years and years and years to the point where people don't even want to play. And it's kind of sad because, like, if you really break it down, there was, how do I say this? Like, how do I genuinely say this shit? Okay, there was, like, an incline because I started making the Destiny videos forever ago, like in 2019. And then no views, no nothing. Who gives a shit, right? Then I swapped to the dungeon format because I had seen just how, fun, I guess you could say, and how interesting and how, I guess you could say, detailed a lot of the dungeons were, how flexible they were for the content. You can make the challenge videos, and with that came an audience, and I'm thankful for that. But then you kind of think about all the people that don't really film anything, but feel the same way. They're like, oh shit, the dungeons have pinnacles. We have a bunch of them now. I can run them alone. I can do this. Oh, the actual area denial grenade launchers look insane. I actually have a reason to play it. Like you slowly, I would say from I don't want to say duality because I think duality sucks, but I want to say from like duality forward, because not even Spire really, from duality forward I feel is when dungeons really got taken seriously because they were harder. You actually had to pay for them, which was kind of ass. But at the same time, again, like the exotics got cooler. You actually had like, runs for like the, what's it called? Like, what was it? Was it like the day one chaos, or not chaos? The day one contest for Sunder. Like you have these activities. Vespers host, I think, also had one. I really don't remember. Like you have these activities that you created midway through the life cycle of dungeons that just gets ignored now. And it's not even about like dropping a new dungeon like somewhere in like summer or like early 2026. It has nothing to do with that. It's more so like if you just go back to that format, oh man. And not even a format where you cycle like 2 pinnacle dungeons, but just like, dude, like what they did with like the Eternal Spire Prophecy Ghost, I think that was pretty cool. They should do more stuff like that. But then again, to each their own. I don't really know how you would logistically do something like that when you have such a low player base. So I think it's a very difficult thing to kind of grasp. Like, I don't think anyone can really win Undead in a situation like this, but who knows. Going back to what I was mentioning previously, I think the raid conversation was also one that got exhausted very quickly. I feel like after Deepstone Crypt, people really started taking raids in D2 seriously. And that's not to say that Last Wish wasn't a sweat fest, clearly, when it came out. But, like, you kind of look at all the activities. Like, you saw a pattern of, like, you have Last Wish and you have King's Fall, which are, like, the longest raids in the game, or a franchise. But then you look at Vow, you look at Deepstone, you look at Root of Nightmares, you look at these raids, right? 4 encounters at most. They're very short. You kind of see the formula that they were going with. And even though I would say the last raid that came out, which I still haven't ran, funny enough, I think Desert Perpetual or whatever, that raid is very similar to Warlords to me in the sense that it's 3 bosses back to back to back. No, you know what I mean? And even though there are mechanics that you have to do, like, who cares? Like, you're still doing 3 fights back to back to back, which is, I think, the closest we are going to get to that gauntlet-esque type of style fighting that's very reminiscent of Leviathan. Again, none of this is something that's new. People have been saying this for a while because it's true. But, man, the stark contrast is there, I'm not gonna lie. Because it's very apparent. And, like, sometimes I do ask myself, like, because I've seen this question before in comment sections and stuff like that, like, oh, how come, the same, I guess you could say, like, dungeon challenges and shit like that, why don't you do that in raids? And it's like, find me the players. Like, genuinely find people that are even in the tower. If you log into Destiny nowadays, you're not even going to see that many people online for a reason, dude. So, I don't know. I think it's not really worth, to kind of, like, go back and, like, repeat the same stuff over and over and over, especially when it's been echoed already. But it's very unfortunate, because I feel like dungeons, for the most part, were like the golden child of Destiny, because I do agree raids are better, obviously, but the people that do raids in comparison to dungeons, because of, the difficulty and the amount of players that you need, 6 versus 3, or 2, or 1, even if you want to solo it, I guess it's always up for debate, but man, dude, it's very taxing. Alright, let's get out of here. So, the point is, as we wrap up this little cheeky Warlords run, or whatever you want to call it, dude. Like, I don't necessarily have any faith that they're gonna get back to how things were, but maybe after a very, very, very long time off, break, drought, vacation, whatever you want to call it, hiatus, people will actually be more inclined to watch the content and stuff like that, because I feel like everyone's already burnt out as well, which makes a lot of sense. But anyway, we're just gonna, can you actually get out of the way real quick so I don't die in the process? There we go. This is very off content, or off topic, kind of, because we're like at the end of the video basically, but I really wish that there was a little bit more to it with this weapon, because I came in this bitch like thinking that I was going to have an amazingly free time with Anarchy, or not Anarchy, 1,000 Voices, but maybe if I was actually using like a Solar Ignition class, it would be a lot better. But regardless, now look at this, like, pay attention to this part right here. Look, which also, I'm 266, I literally don't care about leveling anything. No exotic, no gear that's tier 1, tier 2, which is pathetic, because look, 67 points and nothing. Anyway, I'm out. Hope to see you guys soon enough. Later.